Welcome back to the tent. In part 2 of Raj and Nandu's conversation, we continue exploring camp in India as a career, a reality, and how it compares to the West. But stay with us, because further on into the episode, we take a dive into what truly shapes people, including how camp brought Nandu and his wife together, and the transformation it sparked in their lives. Thanks for joining us.
Much
Let's dive
prepared
in.
as possible. So, thank you for sharing that. I just want to touch a couple more things. Now you are a camp director and you've been leading people. How do you choose your staff and what encouragement do you give to them? Because camping is a huge responsibility. From the kitchen to activities to teaching, there is so many areas where you are involved in, and your leadership is required. How do you empower others to do those jobs? And how do you even choose them for those jobs?
Yeah, this was something new for me since last 2 years. So my camp director trusted on me for my team. They gave me this responsibility to choose the staff for my department. So I had to go through a lot of profiles. So one best thing was everybody had a skill that they can play a game. So my role was okay, they know how to play football, they know how to play basketball, they know how to climb. So, how do I transform these skills to make them as a teacher and teach their skills to the kids? So, that was a very challenging week, the first and the second week, for them to make them understand what we are doing it. And what activities that we offer to our camp. I would focus only on that with the beginners. But I had a couple of staffs in my team like who had camping experience before, but I would give them a bigger responsibility. We had three stages of training. The first training was I treated them like a camper. So basically I led all activities that we do it in the camp. And the next, I was a camper and they would lead activities, some of our stuff. Then the third stage, it's just bring other department counselors. So they run activities. So we sit together and find out how did it go, and the feedback is very important. Some of our staff said that is not for me, but I would offer some tools. This is the way, like, you can do it. I'm not pushing you. I'm not like, asking you have to do this activity, but giving them a tool, giving them extra training and motivate them and not push them. So maybe, as I said, like, first 9 weeks, I would not expect every staff to be a pro in the first week. So the week one, the mistakes happens, but we don't hold on to the mistakes, but we see how well they did stepped on. So we appreciate what they did, and we also touch base how we can do even better.
Awesome.
Then, as I said initially, you told me like, what made me to be in this field. I said when people trusted me, like, it really boosted me. So I am giving back
the responsibility.
the responsibilities. I trust my staff and never let me down. Like, no one has, but we had to talk. I can't just like, blindly trust. I have to monitor how the ship is sailing. If there is a iceberg, like, guys, these are the challenges, how we can break. And so far, my staff, they did well. Only keeping the communication regularly, understand what is happening, how they are feeling when we put them to lead activities. And the second is training. And also the rest plays very important. So I've seen my staff, when they rest well, they do really good job. Without rest, they just like, do it for the sake of doing it. So my biggest thing is we don't do work just for the sake of doing it. I want 100%.
Yeah. It's a big demand, isn't it, when you're on a
Mhm.
camp 24/7? That's so true. The other question which I was wanting to ask you, Nandu, was in this whole field is now, you have lived the both world in India as well as in America, as well as you've been to the UK too. How do you see the difference, the camp between the camps which we do in India over here, and of course the camps which they do it in the US? Now, US has a history of 60 years of camping, and especially with adventure and things. And with India, we are just taking off, and some of us have been pioneers in this, or even introducing things. What do you see some of the major strengths, the camps in India, and some of the weakness? And what do you see some of the major weakness and strength in the US?
Mm-hmm.
And what can we learn from that?
Based on my experience, compared to India and US, we do a good job, and even there they do an excellent job. The only thing I would say is they prepare ahead. So for a camp for the next 2026, for the next summer, we have already started working on it. What activities, what schedule. Here, based on my experience, this is based on my experience, we do say yes to last minute programs and we rush, okay, we need to do it. I would say that's the major difference. For me, the one thing I learned was if there is any program we do, we need to be planned well. It should be ahead of the time. Last minute, it's fine if it is a short time, but we would never do any last minute planning or delay it. So if we know that program is happening, so we have to plan ahead. So that one big difference. And in India, we have a lot of opportunities for the camping. And now our government is supporting us with hiking trails. And now people are understanding about the benefits of camping. But in America, it's been part of the culture. So there is a lot of opportunities. And camping is all over. I live in Massachusetts. I work in Massachusetts. So maybe there are, I would say, some 1,000 camps are there in one state. But in India, we have very less camp centers, but we have more of retreat centers. So that is another major difference I see. And I'm pretty sure, in the future, there are many camp centers are coming in, and it will become part of a culture as well. There are a lot of opportunities in India, and we can bring the things that we do in US to India by simplified way. So we can't just copy and paste here, but we have to deliver here based on our population, based on the permission that we get, and also not every family can afford to come for camp. So we need to find a way, where everybody can get opportunity here in India. Another biggest difference I would say is it's accessible for everyone in US to go to camp. The government supports or other family supports or even the camping organization, they give any subsidize. But in India, we are yet to tap. There are many young people who have no idea about camping or experienced simple adventure activities. As I said, the TFT, when I worked the first 5 years, I would say 90% of the campers where we worked with was all first timers. So there are still more space and to be filled here in India.
Yeah, it's a huge industry, isn't it? And my dream is to see camp culture really go well in India. Especially, India is a very old nation and country. There is so much of possibilities. What would you say in terms of having your own campsite? How does that adds more value towards your vision than from just going and hiring places? How do you see that? Now, one of the campsites which you are working it's owned by the church, or it's their own. What advantages are there having your own campsite from renting up other places? You have seen us with the Fisherman Trust when we have been in our earlier days for the first, we've been using other people's campsite, and we have gone to Nagaland, to Kanyakumari, to Kerala, and everywhere we have gone. What would you say in terms of the advantages of having a campsite?
There are more advantage having a camp center in many ways. The first thing I would say is, as I said, there are more needs in India. If we have a camp center, we can organize our own camp, where it gives opportunity for many young people to come to our camp simply because we can reduce on the cost. Hiring other camp, it always shows a big number. So there are many campers who wants to come for camp, but due to because of the high fee or high camp fee, they just pull out. And having a vision and a mission, so each leader has the vision for their camp center, and I have struggled. I couldn't use my vision in other camp center to provide the experiences that I wanted to offer to my campers. So having a camp center also makes our staff keep busy, not just waiting every month. In India, especially in India, I've seen while I was working here, it's always we would love to see our calendar being booked throughout the year, but the biggest issue is the finance. So having a camp center, we can do a lot of things, especially with young people. Organize a free camps as well, just to come do half-a-day activity. It doesn't involve a lot of cost. Then instead of we waiting somebody to come to us, we can offer to the people we have space, come to us, we can do a lot of programs. So I would say having a camp center is a huge benefit. But we, as a TFT, we used to create a camp center in their places, and we had a lot of challenges, especially the time. We would spend 2 nights or sometimes 3 nights just traveling to a destination from Bangalore to Nagaland, just carrying all these equipment. It's so easy they coming to us. By that way, if we can do 30 camps in a year or 300 camps in a year, we can double that to 600 camps just having a camp center. We can see we can see a big growth. We can achieve what we wanted to do it, and there is more to it, like the freedom of putting all our ideas into our camp, what we want to do it.
Thank you, Nandu. I wanted to ask you one more thing. You met your love of your life in the camp, and how did that? Now she is a colleague to you, a partner to you. How did that work out?
So my wife Renu, we worshipped in the same church, but being in the church, I knew her for a couple of years in the church, but I did not got to know her completely in the church environment. But when she had a chance to volunteer in a camp, and I worked with her, so we got to know more about each other, about our interest and what we like. And we got to know, as I said, the church, being in the church, we just know hi bye, and we couldn't got to know each other very well. But camp offered me a different perspective. We became friends. Then later on, we found that we both have same passion to work with kids, especially bringing scripture through using camping as a tool. So that was one of our biggest dream, that she wanted to do it. Anyways, that's how we met in the camp, and we got married. And she was a teacher right after our marriage. She worked in a school for a couple of years, and later on she had an opportunity to work with me in camps. Then later she found that her interest, in spite of she had camp experience, she decided her career is in camp. She is in charge of a day camp Day camp, she leads and she organizes, and she has her own set of stuff. So she trains, she executes, and she handles all situations. It's great to see how a biggest transformation just happened when she received a role as a camp staff. So I saw a huge difference when she used to volunteer. While she was volunteering, she used to do what we ask her to do it. So when we give her a responsibility, and now she has become one of favorite staff to a camp director. So that's a big achievement, and all the campers loves her, and she feels that she made a good choice. And especially it helped us personally in family. We understand each one of us work, that how camp works, so we give space to each other. Okay, she needs a space during work time. So yeah, it really worked well as a family and also as a career for both of us. So yeah.
So camp can be a great place to meet your life partner and work together.
Oh, that's the first thing we tell our staff during our training. Never know, like, you might meet one of your loved one in the camp. So many of them, like, many, based on the history, the statistics, many have met in the camp and they got married, and they serve in the camp as well.
Amazing, amazing.
And some of them are my leaders as well, like, whom, yeah.
That's fantastic, Nandu. Just a couple of questions which I want to ask. How do you see the role of God in this whole camp? Because all what we do, there's a purpose, right? We are not like, how do you use camp as a way in which that people can meet with God? And what is your role has been in that?
Camp life, every day, it's a test, because we say to a camper, we teach scripture to them. The first question is, am I living? Am I setting an example? So that is the biggest challenge for me. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it. Being part of the camp, I've learned more about God through camps than I would say than a classroom setup. So we live by faith and we walk by faith. It's basically, I work in a Christian camp center, so everybody helps each other, testifies, sets an example, and we learn from one another, because we all have one common goal, that every camper will get the taste of Jesus. So I stayed back in the camp through this experience. It's because of Jesus. There was a meaning to it. I don't know if I told you, I was freelancing for corporates. I was just doing for the money, but I was running around and asking questions. Why am I doing this? I did not have purpose. I did not have like where I was leading. But since when camp and God came together, like, I knew the purpose. Okay, this is my goal, and this is the benefit, and this is the legacy I'm leaving. And I see how people are being saved. I don't know if you remember, we walked into Sanctuary Cafe once. A guy just came and said, because of you guys, I'm working here. If not, like, I would have ended up somewhere. So those are the things. Definitely, if God wasn't there, I wouldn't do like 100%. I am not doing my job. It's because of my a physical boss, my camp directors. I'm doing it because my boss is watching from how I'm doing it. Every time I do good things, I do receive a blessing. And today, I'm not worth to be in US as a program director. It is his blessing. And because he's watching me, I give 100%. That's awesome. What I mean, like,
Thank you, Nandu. And it's such a joy to see how the Lord has been in your life, seeing you from a teenager, now being a dad, and you enjoying your son. It's just amazing to see how God works in our lives when we surrender to Him. And you have been such a huge inspiration and a blessing in so many ways. What advice would you give, Nandu, for younger leaders who are emerging especially in Indian context? What would you give them if there was a word of advice you would give, especially exploring the whole camping field? What would you say?
Initially, I lost a lot of time in thinking about like what others will think about me if I do like this. I always looked for perfection. I would say do not get scared of making mistake. And you do, like, your action will speak louder. And even if you don't speak English, it's fine. People can understand well. So the first thing here in India, I felt if I don't speak well, like, I'm not cool. No, that was a totally a wrong assumption. So I would say don't get scared and just do what you like to do it. And don't hold on to it if you have an idea. Just implement it. And you will know whether it works or not. If it doesn't work, then research it, where it did not go well and how we can improvise that. So that's one thing I would say. Don't get scared to do. Bring on your ideas and keep it within yourself. Just live and serve God as you are.
Yeah. And what about the opportunities that young people can pursue in this camp if they have to?
There is, as I said, like, there are a lot of opportunities. So one is like, you need to build yourself, you need to have experience, you need to build your confidence, you need to understand that you are a leader and you need to believe in yourself that you can do it. When you do this, and the opportunities will knock. I did not just go to US to work there, apply, or like asked anyone. So I had an opportunity. I displayed my skills and talent. So through this field, definitely, like, you have a lot of opportunities to explore. And there are a lot of opportunities to play different role. If you're an activity instructor, it doesn't mean like you have to stay as an activity instructor. You can be a camp director as well and do activity. So training, exposure, and you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a leader, you can become a leader, you can become a trainer, and moreover, you can become a servant of God. So I would say these are the things, the great opportunities in a camp. You can play a different roles. You can play a different role. You can be a counselor. There are so many roles that you can offer. But you can also use camping as a business model and give it back to people who are in need. And that's what I do. Like, I work in US. I also run any small programs here back in India. So yeah, so playing different role. So entrepreneur, and you can be a staff as well. And moreover, you have a lot of time to explore different things. It is not just 9 to 5 and doing the same work again and again. So you can become your own boss and you can offer many things.
Thank you, Nandu, for your time. I just love talking with you. Hopefully, we'll meet another time and talk a little bit more in depth. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing what you did share. I think camp is an incredible opportunity, not just to know God and for your life to be transformed, but also to invest in others. And you and I, we know this story. The many years we have been in this camping, and there's so many kids' lives that God has allowed us to work with, to be an influence, and that is the biggest joy and kick which we get, in fact, when we see someone's life being transformed, and when we hear their testimony. So it's been fantastic, and I continue to pray and wish you the very best for the days to come in. And as you continue to invest in people's lives and provide trainings and seeing how the Lord is taking you to a different level of leadership, so grateful for that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode, folks. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next time. And until then, keep the fire going.